The following program is a special presentation of the Big Ten Network, produced in association with the University of Wisconsin.
Sorry, but I hate trashy girls.
Wait, how is it trash?
I think that she was class together, put on a turtleneck.
Her mama didn't help her.
Sorry. I'm wearing
That's
that.
so weird. How come, wait a minute, how come her You know how he changed clothes already? He did it already.
Hey, you know why Mr. Rogers used to wear sweaters? Because he had tattoos all up his arms. He used to be a Navy SEAL.
He a G.
Yes.
All right, well, another topic. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about relationships and if you think it's possible to have a sustainable relationship in college. I think it is. I've been dating the same person since end of high school, and he now goes to this school as well, and we've had a good relationship, still do. So what do you guys think?
Well, how difficult has that been, though? I mean, if you're involved in things on campus, and obviously you're a full-time student, I would think that it seems like you've been together 4+ years, right? Mm-hmm. Have you had rocky times? I mean, has it been close?
He's not that much younger than I am, but because of how it happened, he's a year behind me in school. And so I was here alone freshman year, and it was kind of like a long-distance thing, and that was really hard. And it was hard, but at the same time, it wasn't like, well, this is just too difficult, I don't want to deal with it.
Well, I dated somebody for 5 years, and it was completely long distance. He went to school in Tennessee, and I went to school here, and we're clearly no longer dating, because he should have put a ring on it by now.
That song.
But I mean, I don't know. I think long distance plays a part in that. Dating somebody for a relationship to have longevity. I mean, but I could also see dating somebody that's closer to you and feel suffocated by that person.
I have to say though, Jeff, you mentioned, kind of the time that it takes. I've also had a very long-term relationship. I've been dating my boyfriend since our first semester freshman year, so I've had a boyfriend all throughout college. And it's like taking another class. I mean, you need to make time for that. I'm really serious. Like, you go to classes, you go to your extracurriculars. Like, I'm in a lot of extracurriculars. It takes up so much time. And then you still, at the end of the day, when you just want to crash and go to sleep, it's like, okay, gotta make time to go see the boyfriend. And obviously that's good, but...
I've never heard a girl say it like that, though.
Me
Most of the
neither.
time, I've never heard a girl, say that. I feel like I'm on the opposite, or I'm on the same thing, though. Like, having a girlfriend is like a 4 or 5 credit class.
Yeah.
You need to take time out. It is.
It's
a great class.
But
it's great.
Yeah.
But it's just the fact that it needs to be done. Like, you need to take time out with it. You need to, spend time with her. Keep her happy. Otherwise, it's gonna be all
I don't
bad.
know.
I agree with that. I mean, I don't like to I don't like to make the equivalent to academics and taking an extra class.
It's a little bit more fun than that.
It is. I mean, it is really tough. I mean, we're talking about time, right? And I've had 2 relationships in college, but they were both very short term. And I felt I was kind of running into that same problem of not being able to, create sort of the time to have something meaningful long term.
I think that don't have a girlfriend your freshman year or sophomore. You should just wait a little while, I think.
Okay, so going off of that though, not having a girlfriend freshman year, a boyfriend freshman year, do you guys think that, having a boyfriend or a girlfriend, especially in a long-term relationship, does it kind of inhibit your social life? Does it kind of hurt or change the way that you work in college when you're going out at night and all that stuff? I think that it does, but I don't think that it necessarily hinders it. Because that's obviously a negative connotation, and you wouldn't be in a relationship if it was really that negative.
Yeah, I feel like, I'm telling you, now that's the benefit about a long-distance relationship, is because you don't have to worry about leaving class and going and do all of that stuff, and then I gotta go cash in one more time, for the end of the night. Because, I'm kicking it with my friends, but you gotta make, the time, I guess, over the phone or via webcam or whatever. I didn't feel like it hindered my social time, but I felt that my partner had his expectations of what I should have been doing. And being on the phone, it's like, well, do I have to set aside 3 or 4 hours for you? Because I really feel like we talked yesterday and you're still alive. So I think you're okay.
Nothing could have changed that drastically in that time period.
Yeah, going this, that's a whole nother question though. But I mean, that's just a whole other set of obstacles. But does it necessarily take a hinder on your your extracurriculars? I don't think so. I think you have to be with a person that understands that, while in college, you're gonna have more interest than her. And while you're in college, I'm 20 years old. My my interests spread around. Like I have a lot of different interests with different organizations. So as long as that person knows that and she's comfortable with that, then I think that you're fine.
But what about the social scene? I mean, going out on Friday, on Saturday night, does it make a huge difference if you have a boyfriend or girlfriend? I mean, obviously it plays a factor, but do you feel like you're kind of getting, I don't know, like you're losing something by having a boyfriend or a girlfriend?
I mean, I think it depends on if your boyfriend or significant other gets along with the rest of your friends.
Exactly.
I mean, if they don't, or if they, don't want you hanging around with your friends, you're gonna have some issues. But if
and it's a lot easier if you're in the same social circles, right? I mean,
Right.
if you share friends,
that can also be really bad. That can be horrible.
well, still, but you can make the argument that that wouldn't hinder your social experience, right?
Then if y'all break up, like who's gonna get the friends? Who's gonna have you like to break up? Like who's gonna get the bar? Like who's gonna get to go to the favorite restaurant?
That's a separate question.
I mean,
I think that the person, you have to have, and on the other note of this whole thing, you have to have respect for the person. I mean, as far as if it.
This program is a production of the University of Wisconsin-Madison. If you have comments about this broadcast, please email us at programming@uc.wisc.edu.
That freaks me out.
I mean, let's think about this. Do you think that students here on campus take sexual safety and sexual health seriously? I mean, as far as, I have some friends who say, it's just an awkward moment when you gotta ask a guy to, use protection. And my mom always said, well, if they can ask you to get the goods, then you can ask them to, use protection.
Called the woo-ha.
So, I mean, do you think students take sexual, experiences seriously?
I think people do. I feel like people who I've encountered on campus and people that I know, they all take it really seriously. However, I will say, I think that a lot of people on this campus take some of the resources that we have for granted, like Plan B, things like that. And they're just promiscuous, and then they're like, well, I have drugs to fall back on.
Yeah.
It's like,
and that just seems so unhealthy. I mean, people who aren't on birth control but are sexually active and then relying on Plan B to try and make sure that they end up okay. That's just not the right way to go about it.
That's just the way the world is changing. I think that's becoming so comfortable, and like we're so used to that the younger people, that's what they know. But as far as like safe sex or whatever, I don't know how people couldn't think not to use that in 2009. Like it's everywhere, literally.
Exactly. Especially because AIDS is everywhere.
Yes, and condoms is everywhere. Like condoms on this campus, they're everywhere. I really don't think there's an excuse. They're cheap to get. It's not like they're really expensive. They're
free to get. Your student segregated fees are paying for you to have bundles and bundles of condoms.
You go right there.
An amazing sex ed through a bunch of different programs that the campus offers.
Exactly.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that.
At the same time, there will always be, some segment of the student population that will, not engage in healthy sexual activities. I think you're going to have that wherever you go. But I think UW-Madison does a pretty good job.
Yeah. I think that students who participate in sexual activities and are unprotected or use, have malice intent when they have, because I know some kids who are like, well, I got this, but I ain't gonna tell my partner. I don't think that that's right. We talked about that in the class that I just had recently.
Oh my
Like
goodness.
if you had something, would you tell a one night stand that you had something?
Oh yeah.
Some people feel like that's not their business, but I think that that's practicing poor sexual health.
Yeah,
Well, if you're
be open.
engaging with someone in that kind of intimacy, you should be at the level I personally believe you should be at the level where you're comfortable telling them that kind of stuff.
That's just selfish too. Like,
It's so selfish.
That's definitely selfish. That's only taking your feelings into consideration. It's just.
That's right. You don't give a person a chance, that you don't give them the option to protect their own sexual health.
Yeah.
So, but do you think it's either person's,
Okay, well, another option that there is to safe sex is abstinence. So I'm putting out the question, do you think abstinence is actually a viable option here on campus? And like me personally, I think that abstinence, it's an option, but is it practical? I don't think so. Like, we're human. It's just, you're in college.
We're human.
We are human.
So we gotta just be getting it on.
The flesh is weak. That's all I'm saying. The flesh is weak.
Excuse me.
That's what people,
The good book.
Okay, sure, but most people I know are abstinent. They do it out of a religious type thing. Okay. And most people on this campus, like the people I've met at least, they're not that religious. So to use abstinence is just not that viable. I don't think.
I think it's about self-control. I think that it's definitely possible, and I feel, me personally, being in a college setting, that you don't have the same pressures that you have in high school. Like, oh, you didn't do it, you ain't getting none yet, you ain't getting it, you know. In college, it's just like, hey, if you're not doing it, that's your business. If you are, you are.
Yeah, definitely. People are so much more open-minded, I think, in college about it, and much more respectful, I think.
Definitely.
And I think, like you said, it is a viable option. And I will give you that. I think it does have a lot to do with, you know, your moral or religious background, you know, because the people who I know, you know, who practice abstinence are religious. And I'm not super, you know, Bible-beating religious, but that's just
and
part
I
of the
think
moral.
it's easier for people who practice abstinence because they tend to be around people who are also practicing abstinence, right?
On this
and
campus.
that exactly, and that kind of sort of hinges on religious communities. I mean, I have a few friends who practice it, but they have social support within their communities.
I do think, though, that politically it's unrealistic, and I think it's ineffective for politicians, you know, looking at the last 8 years, to not give, to only be supporting education, sexual education through abstinence. I don't think that that's realistic, and I really don't think that it's, you know, obviously appealing to our generation.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people fall back on is either, you know, you having sex or you're abstinent. And a lot of times it's this huge gray area where people are participating in sexual activity, you know, partly maybe with themselves and having safe, enjoyable, you know, sexual experiences, and they found, you know, those alternative methods to, you know, and not participating in like the actual act of sex with another person.
And I think that the different resources that are on campus that teach about sex and safe sex, I mean, I think they do a good job of covering that option too.
Everybody do a curl.
All right, so talking about sexuality on campus, obviously we need to address the LGBTQ community. Is that what it is now?
Yeah, there
right.
you go.
UW-Madison is pretty much known, I think, for being a pretty progressive and open-minded school. Do you guys think that it's possible and that it's a comfortable place for gay people to come out on our campus? I personally do. I think that we're in an atmosphere that's so open-minded that, you know, at least I would hope that people would feel comfortable here and feel like they're going to be accepted and be able to find a place.
I think that our campus is also a really good place for people to be comfortable coming out in this environment and feeling accepted and feeling they have a lot of resources, because here we have a lot of student organizations, and I know working in housing, and I've worked with some of the organizations. Right now here in the Union, we have the LGBTQ Center, and they have a lot of resources as far as books and as far as sexual education. They do a lot of programming on campus too, get students aware, and they have QPOC too, which is queer people of color, for students of color who feel that they might not be a part of the mainstream LGBT community, but they can also participate in things with QPOC.
See, I've never heard of that, because I understand that the university has resources, like we have the LGBTQ Center here, but what about socially? Is that acceptable? Like if you come out to your group of friends here, especially in a group of people when it's not that many of us, if you come out, you're definitely differentiating yourself from the minority already. So like, who else do you have to be with?
I think college in general is a much more open, accepting environment to come out like this. I know a friend who didn't come out until after high school, and they didn't come to this campus. They went to another, I would say equally, if not more liberal campus. But there's obviously testament that college is more accepting, because there are so many groups of people, and it's such a giant change from a small high school.
I think it is, you know, the college community, the campus community is very tolerant, and it's easier for people to come out here among their friends, but that doesn't mean that they still don't, they aren't forced to talk to their parents back home, right? I mean, oftentimes, I think that's one reason why people maybe are more comfortable coming out on campus, is because their immediate community is among people who are more socially accepting, but they still need to come out to, you know, folks back home who may not be, who may be more traditional.
I think that coming out too, I mean, obviously when you come out, like you said, you differentiate yourself from your friends, and you're kind of pointing out, obviously you're pointing out a difference. But I would hope that if you're coming out to your friends, that they're close enough with you that you feel comfortable doing so.
Yeah, it wouldn't dump you to the side or anything like that.
Exactly.
Okay, well, let's talk about the topic of interracial dating. Do you guys think that it's an issue here on campus? Is it accepted, or is it just really just frowned upon? But me personally, I think that interracial dating, it's going so media now that it's okay. Like, you see movies like, you know, Something New, and I think that it's okay for a black woman to date a white man, but it's frowned upon here on this campus for a black man to date outside of his race.
It's not just on this campus now.
It's not just on this campus. You're right. It's socially, but on this campus is what I immediately know. So that's what I'm immediately talking
Why
about.
do you
Why is
think
that?
that is, though?
Why do I think that? I mean,
okay, come on now. Realistically, here on this campus, it's about 15 white women to every African American man. It's about 5 to 6 African American women to every African American man. Now, if my pool is so small that I gotta try to, and the one thing about dating in our community is like if I date Mike, then I can't date none of Mike's friends. So that just cut me off from like 15 people. Okay?
The pool is shrinking.
And it's not that it's just like, it's just like within this social circle. I think that, within the Madison community, I've seen plenty of interracial couples and children.
Definitely. In Madison, but like on this campus particularly, because like most of the people here that I know aren't from Madison. They're from Milwaukee, Chicago, LA, Memphis, like.
I don't know, I guess as far as me, I think it goes both ways. I don't think that it's accepted either way within the larger community of black women dating white men. Like, I've been trying to get at Jeff this whole time. You see, Jeff ain't big. I don't know. I don't see the acceptability in a black woman dating a white man. It's just like this power struggle that exists within the black-white relationship that I think plays a big factor in interracial dating.
And right now we're only talking about black and white, but I have a friend who was dating an Asian man, and she stressed this, and she had some serious issues with it, that she would get stared at in grocery stores when they'd be holding hands. She said she got really bad looks, and and not so much necessarily on campus, but when they would go off campus together, people seemed to be a little bit more closed-minded about it, and it really disappointed her. Like, we're in the 2009. Come on.
But it wasn't that long ago that she would get arrested for that. It wasn't that long ago that plenty of people went to jail for even looking at a white. Well, you can bring up Emmett Till. He got murdered, brutally murdered for, I believe, whistling at a white woman. And brutally murdered. It was.
And he was a little kid. He was
like 13, 14 years old.
Yeah, as far as interracial dating goes.
This program is a production of the University of Wisconsin-Madison. If you have comments about this broadcast, please email us at programming@uc.wisc.edu.
I just hit the bed like a brick. Like a log.
What's that stuff called when you sleep on your? Oh, okay.
Okay, so I'm going to kick things off here. We've been talking about relationships. We all attend UW-Madison. I think a fair question is, how difficult is it to meet someone on campus? Personally, despite a really large student population, over 40,000, I think it can be sometimes kind of tough to find someone who's like you and who you enjoy interacting with.
I agree. I think you really have to make a very conscious effort to get outside of your comfort zone, to not go to the same bars or to the same parties every single night and hang out with the exact same group of people. And I would say, though, that it is possible if you really do make that effort. If you have a girls' night and you guys go to some place that you've never been, maybe up by the Capitol or something, you can meet new people. You just have to really push for it.
Yeah, I feel like I would disagree, because in our community, like if I'm gonna limit myself, let's put it like that, because somebody out there is gonna say, well, she's limiting herself. So if I limit myself to only African American men, it's really hard on this campus, especially because I'm 22. And so it's going to be harder when all of the new students coming in are like 18 and 19, and all the ones that are my age. Can't be a cougar this early on in life.
I find it easier, though, to meet someone when I'm not trying. People come along when you're just not actively looking for someone, right? I have a lot of friends who kind of obsess about finding a partner, right? And they don't, because I think they're actively searching all the time.
That's exactly. Some people are so anxious. Like, some people come to college, they're like, I need to find my husband. And when I hear stuff like that, it's like, wow, love finds you when you're not looking for it. Aww. That's when love will really find you. But as far as finding a relationship on this campus, though, I definitely agree with Dre, because in our community, once you date somebody, it's pretty much a wrap on them. And their circle too, and it's not that many circles to go around, So.
But it's some girls that do not let that limit them, okay? Just because the group is little,
but do you want to date them?
Come on.
But okay, like you were saying, people who actively go out and seek, and I feel a lot of times, a lot of people that I know who do that, they end up settling, because it's like, well, this, it's okay, it's good enough. So I'm comfortable, we'll just kind of stay. you know, stay like
That's
that.
when you get bored and then you start doing stuff you ain't got no
Right,
business.
and I think that's the problem. It's a big problem for a lot of people.
I think what you guys are saying with the circles, though, that's definitely an issue, I think, in the Greek system in general as well. I mean, you go out and everybody knows somebody who hooked up with somebody, and you can't date them because that person hooked up with that person, and it's just a big cyclical
nasty.
problem.
But like,
Incestuous. Okay, moving on. We're going to do famous final words, okay? We're going to start things off with, what's a good age to get married?
I think when you're both comfortable and in a place where you can live comfortably, somewhere where it's not going to put a whole lot of strain on your relationship.
I'm going to say 30. For me, I think 30 is a good age.
Different for everybody.
It gives you time to explore, graduate school, do other things.
I think it's really important to wait until you're out of kind of your younger 20s because people change so much during that time period. I think late 20s, like 28, 29, that'd be ideal. But at the same time, I mean, if you're in a relationship, you're not going to say, okay, we've been dating for 10 years now, but I'm not 29 yet, so I'm not going to, you know, if by that time.
You know, I know.
Yeah.
People always
Do you know what I'm
if we've
saying,
been dating
though?
for 6 years, we need to get married. Like me
Yeah, I
personally,
don't think it's like that.
Me personally, I think, but still, like I like to get married like 25, 26, just because I want to have kids around that age. That way, I'm not real old. I can still play with my kids. Like, we still
I'm
teaching
gonna be
how to
old
By
dad.
30, you just can't walk anymore.
Pretty much. I mean, hey, 30's a new 40.
I'm going
I
to be
guess,
walking
but-
until I'm 100. Bar scene.
Well, see, I don't even drink. And I mean, maybe if I start to go, well, not drinking, but maybe if I start to go to bars, I probably, you know, find me a partner. But I'm not going to be actively looking because I ain't thirsty, okay?
I just think they all have like different personalities, I guess, like different bars you go to, and they all have different reputations and
What about friends with benefits?
No, just no.
horrible idea.
When does that ever work,
Yeah,
please?
you can't be in that gray
Yeah, I
area.
agree.
Like you can't be in that gray area out
People
there.
get jealous.
People get jealous. Like we're
can't be
human.
done.
Yeah, exactly. I just think
You would
no.
have to have like you really could only be able to see that person, I think, when you were using the benefits part. Because if you see them otherwise, you're expecting them to act a certain way,
Yeah,
and
you
that's
see them walking down the
unrealistic.
street with somebody else, and you get real
Yeah,
mad. and
yeah.
It's not gonna be nice.
What about my ideal mate is...
Sexy, delicious.
Delicious is the theme word of the day.
I don't know. I think we have these expectations for
Yeah.
people, but I think if you let people be who they are and you know you vibe with them, it may not be the person that you wrote that's on your list.
But they gotta have some kind of qualities you're looking for. Like my qualities, I need funny.
Intelligent, genuine.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Intelligence. Please. Like yes. I think dating a girl who's not smart is like one of the worst things on the face of the earth. You ever been to a dinner with a girl who's not that smart? It's the longest dinner you've ever eaten in your life. So yeah, definitely intelligence and humor.
Culture. It's just a culture woman.
Do you think that the qualities that
Open-minded.
we look for in, you know, someone else are the same qualities that like our parents want us?
The preceding program was produced by the University of Wisconsin in association with the Big Ten Network.